What's good, YouTube? Yo, welcome back to a video from my girl, Alterio. Still don't know how to pronounce her name, but I really like her videos, so we're gonna watch another one of hers. And this is about the whole female-only gym controversy that you might have seen on Twitter. It's stupid. Personally, I think it's very dumb. But it's got dumber because now not only did they make incels mad that think that female-only gyms are ridiculous, they now made the mentally retarded men mad that think they're female because she says that trans men or trans women, I don't know what the difference is, aren't allowed in the women-only gym. So yeah, cool. This is gonna be great. Can't wait. It's gonna be a shit show. Let's go. Let's hop in.
What do you mean you're going to have the idea for a women's only gym base, but when it comes time to actually opening, you're going to backtrack and say it's for biologically born women only?
Yeah, that's kind of what's in the name. It's called women only gym. A woman is an adult female. All right, it's very clear cut. This whole nonsense about gender and sex being a different thing is completely ridiculous. All right, so it's in the name. Women only gym. Okay? Anyway, continue.
I'm not gonna lie, Natalie, I want my money back.
Now, people are flaming this woman, and many people might not know what the hell's going on. I'm a little bit late to this as well.
Why
She
do you keep
apparently was
getting
an
my
inspiration for a lot
captions?
of people, but she came on my radar when she posted some video about men. And I didn't even realize that she was the same girl who did this really cute video where a guy didn't know he was being recorded, and she was very kind to him and let him.
Oh, that's her. I didn't know that. Oh yeah, I've seen that video. That's a wholesome video. I like seeing like gym videos where somebody is like doing something ridiculous and then my boy shows up, you know, Mr. Damn it, I forgot his name. The bald guy, right? We always have like his cap backwards and he's roasting these like individuals that don't have gym etiquette. Love that guy. Anyway, I didn't even know that. Cool.
Him know that it's okay. She just wanted him to be aware that the camera was there, even
How
though
considerate.
I do think it's very annoying in general to have cameras at the gym because not everybody wants to be recorded. But I do think that she handled that situation very well.
Yeah, but that's just on the gym. If the gym prohibits cameras, then you know, then you shouldn't do it. But if the gym says you can film, you can't complain about getting filmed. You know, if you don't like it, go to a different gym that, you know, doesn't allow it. There's plenty of gyms that don't allow it. So, yeah.
But then as of late, videos have been cropping up about her talking badly about men and saying, well, it's always men that do this, and she wants to start a female-only gym, which, you know what, power to you. I don't really blame her, because the truth is, there are people who have been victimized by men, and they made me feel shy or scared still that, you know, it might happen to them again. Not to say all men do this, and I only have a problem when people claim that this is the case. And it came off as her doing exactly that, which was one of the things that put me off to this whole thing. Even still, I still think it's within her right to create the women's only gym. But
personally, I don't really care about this whole thing. About like, oh yeah, it's always men, always this, all men this, all men that. Or no, I don't care. I think it's stupid. I mean, I care. I actually care. Yeah, I think you can generalize a whole different section of human and call them all monsters. I think that's wrong. I think that you shouldn't do it. I think you should be specific about gym creeps. All right, you should be specific about saying weird people or bad people. All right, even if they are men or not, doesn't matter. Okay, I don't think you should like tarnish somebody's reputation for what they have been born as. I think that's very wrong, sexist, whatever. Right? Anyway, I don't think it's within her rights at all for making a female-only gym. Because that would be against the law. However, the reason why these women-only gyms are allowed and male-only gyms aren't is because they have this, like, oh, it's for safety reasons. And that's when they can, like, penetrate the law in their favor. And then they get, you know, approved of making these very sexist sexist centric buildings, right? Because obviously, if you would make some building or like something that you can like some organization or like a gym, and you say only men, right? Let's say that. Lawfully, you cannot do that. It's against the law to discriminate on somebody's sex, right? Just like it's against the law to discriminate based on somebody's race. However, the reason why female-only gyms exist and male-only gyms can't is because safety reasons, and that's something that can like blur the lines for laws, which make it available or make it possible for these women to make these specific organizations or buildings or gyms, right? Personally, I think it's weird. I would say, you know what? Why don't you just have a building that have more security or something, like, you know, or like have better, like have more people looking out for like weird gym creeps or weird behavior or something like that, or just, you know, reinforce rules better to say like, oh, this guy, you know, he harassed me and I want him gone. And then they hear both stories, and you know, and then they can. Well, obviously, that takes a lot of time and money, and I get it. You know, that's not really helpful, especially if they can't find good proof. You know, there's a lot of bad reasons or hard, really hard to like prove these things, right? So that's why they're going with only female gyms, right? Anyway, but personally, I think these things shouldn't be allowed to exist, simply because it's against the law. But that's just me. All right.
Let's hear some of what she had to say, starting from about 4 years ago.
Okay, so the first point I want to make regarding men is that men feel very, very entitled. They feel entitled to get your number. They feel entitled to speak to you, to get your Snapchat, your Instagram.
No, we don't. I'm going to cut you off right there. We don't. The men you're talking about are what I would describe as the barbaric men. And those are the people that feel entitled. Those are the people that feel superior. Those are the people that think that they deserve your number. Trust me. That's like a small subgroup of men. Those are not the majority of men. Alright? So, don't generalize us, alright? We're not gonna generalize women either. So why is it okay to generalize these women or these men, but when it goes the other way, suddenly there's a big issue about saying, oh, all women are keep going on and on and on and on, and they have to say like, oh, well, it's true. Like, no, it's not true. Okay, that's your experience. It's factually not true.
To look at you, absolutely anything.
I do agree. There are some men that
for an hour? What the fuck?
Chat, I haven't gotten a single comment. Not a comment, fuck. I haven't gotten a single donation, a single sub for every single year I've been streaming. What the fuck, guys? I've been working for free. Like, this is so stupid, man. Holy. An hour. I'm working an hour for free. Well, bitch, get a real job then. If your whole thing about streaming is to make money, like, it's not a profitable business, bro. That's only, oh, my phone fell. It's only the lucky ones, man. And if you act like this, you're definitely not getting there. Look how shocked she is.
An hour when I fucking working for free? What the fuck?
You're not special.
Let's not make this just a woman and man thing, even though as time goes on, the pendulum kind of skews back and forth. But yes, you have entitled people out there.
Yep.
Equating it and just broad stroking it as being a whole gender or sex, that's just crazy. And that's honestly where you probably start to lose people. And stuff that she says like this is one of the reasons why I wasn't really on board with her whole ideology and the female gym thing, because if men were to come out nowadays and try to make a male only gym, women would cry discrimination and say that men are trying to exclude them from spaces, when women are allowed to have their own spaces. I do agree that men should be allowed to have their own spaces as well. But so,
although, like I said, the law also doesn't permit both. But like I already said, female-only gyms are created on like the basis of being security or like anti-dangerous for them, like safety-wise, and that's why they can wiggle through the law like some lizard.
so long as we're not doing a double standard and both people can have their own spaces where they can say, hey, no women allowed, and women can say no men allowed, then it's completely fine. I just think it's very misleading and very disingenuous or highly biased for her to state that men do this as if it is all men. And I know people get upset. I did a video on this recently when people are like, well, don't say all men. But that's exactly what you're saying when you just leave it at men full stop.
I was at the gym, I've been going to gym for 3 years, so it was one of those times between these 3 years, and I was in the corner and a guy came over to me, and like, I'm like 5'5", yeah, between 5'5" and 5'6", and he was about 6 foot and he was really big, and I was in the corner and he came up to me, and like, it's only because I saw his reflection in the mirror, so he came up to me like behind me, and he's like, excuse me, and I turned around. So bear in mind, I'm in the corner, like, he's like, excuse me, and I was like, can you step back? And he was like why? I was thinking, first of all, if I tell you to step back, why are you asking me why should I step back? You're like 6 foot, I'm like 5'5", and you've got me in the corner. I was like, step back. So he stepped back. So he was like to me, oh, like, what's your name? I was like, I'm not trying to talk to anyone.
I do agree that person was exhibiting highly creepy behavior. If someone is asking, hey, can you please?
I mean, I don't really say it's creepy. It's more like weird. It's like he comes in like, excuse me, and then she turns around and apparently he was really close or something. Maybe he didn't realize that, right? And I don't know how she said, can you move back a little bit? It could have been very crude or rude or very agitative, which would, make somebody less likely to, adhere to your requests. But that's speculation, of course, right? Let's say she was very, polite, like the gentleman was, as she said in the story. But excuse me. And he didn't do it. Yeah, that's weird. That's weird. But he is allowed to say why. He's allowed to ask why. And if you say, oh, well, you're kind of tall, and I feel kind of intimidated, and a normal, reasonable man would say, oh, my bad. I didn't want to, make you uncomfortable. That's how regular, normal people act, okay? And if his response is like, oh, who cares? Then, yeah. Then, you ask for help or something. I don't know. Right? Like, then you have, like, a different issue, right? But it's just very telling that this is how this woman and a lot of other women generalize men because they have bad behavior, bad experiences with men. But obviously, the only men that that actually approach you that you have an issue with are the one that you're gonna have issues with, because they are the kind of people that are going to engross into your personal space. They're going to be either disrespectful, they're gonna be either very impolite or very pushy because they want to, like, I don't know, get your number or whatever, right? Or they want to, like, interact with you in some levels that you might not be comfortable or wanting to. Those are the men you're going to come across. Those are the men that you're going to remember. Those are the kind of men that you're going to encounter the most of the time. Because the people that you aren't going to have problems with aren't going to bother you. Do you understand that? You have a recency bias because the only men you interact with are the problematic ones. You get me? Anyway, go on.
You step back, ask why later. Or just be like, okay, well, maybe this person doesn't want to talk. Read the room. Is it a man thing? There are a lot of people who do not get body language.
Correct.
There are a lot of women I've met that can't take a hint, read the room, or read body language either. Just like all the women that are like, oh my God, someone's looking at me. Oh my God, he wants to, like, devour me, and they're not looking anywhere in your direction. It's called being an asshole. And it's not exclusive to just one sex. For example, in this video by Joey Swole, this woman...
Joey Swole, that's his name. Yeah, what a legend, bro. Huge fan of him.
is so high on herself that she thinks that somebody just walking past her is an issue. And I thought she was making a joke.
Whore. Look at her dress, bro. She's dressing as a whore. I don't care. You're gonna dress like this? You have no opinions there, fella. I'm sorry.
Like the guy was like, what the F is wrong with this woman? But at the bottom of the caption, you can see she says, I tried to stay composed. Did I succeed? What exactly were you trying to?
You succeeded at looking as a whore. That's what you succeeded in. Other than that, you're just an asshole. You're just a dickhead. You're just an entitled bitch. That's what you are. Alright?
Accomplish with this. You look fucking cringe. Ew. No one was even looking at you. And that's the kind of thing that I'm talking about. And a lot of people have this bias where they think that women can do no wrong. And the reason why I specify it being
pretty privilege. It's a thing. People want to deny it, but it's a thing, all right? Pretty privilege is a real thing. And it's something that that mentally, you know, makes people act differently.
Women is because men call out other men, and yes, women do call out other women, especially now they're starting to do that more, but in the media it's more excusable when a woman does bad behavior and shit on what a guy does, but if a guy were to do the same thing with a woman doing the same behavior, he's sexist. It doesn't make any sense to me.
He was like, so what, I can't get your number? Like, are you deaf? I said, I'm not trying to talk to anyone. This is what my entitlement. Men think that they are very entitled to speak to you regardless of the circumstance. Now, I think that our gym experiences as females, it's going to take a lot for it to change because of how men are, and you can't change people. How people are is how people are, and I genuinely believe that. So I think the main goal when it comes to improving our experiences in the gym is increasing our confidence. Now, I'm a very confident person, kind of in general, and particularly when it comes to the gym. So when I have to deal with men in the gym, I don't care. Do you know what I mean? I'll talk to them a certain way, I'll deal with them a certain way because I'm not intimidated by them. And I think that's what's made my gym experience a lot easier because if I tell you to step back, you're stepping back kind of thing.
Yes, and water is extremely wet. This is with anybody. Listen, if you live out in the real world, whether it be from men or women, you are going to have to learn the ability to socialize, to open up your mouth and say when you want something or when you don't want something. Now, granted, there are situations where you might not do exactly those things or you can't always follow that guideline because you're trying to de-escalate a situation. And I completely understand that. I've been in those situations too. But if you're going out to a social place like a gym, then yes, those people, men and women, should be respectful of you. That man was an asshole. It's not men, it's that dude. That dude particularly. You do know that there are women that go up to men in the gym as well. But it's not something that people really talk about because if a woman approaches a man, you know, he just takes it stride and like, oh, okay, even the guys that have girlfriends and stuff, the girls will try to hit on them. It's a whole thing. No one really talks about it. And I understand why there's more of a stigma because men are stronger than women. So they can be more threatening than women. I do understand that. And I understand why some females might be, you know, a little bit weirded out if they're getting cornered by a guy, especially if they're like a victim of assault or something. I completely understand.
Yeah, trauma is definitely something that could really warp your reality. You know, fear is a very dangerous drug. The moment you have ingested any like sort of fear in your life for specific kind of scenarios or specific kind of people, your reality will warp into a fight or flight situation the moment you encounter some situation or some person that you had that experience, that fear response on, right? Like psychologically that shit makes sense, right? But I don't think that she is somebody like that because the way she talks about them is not like she's afraid. It's more like, how dare you talk to me? It's very condescending. It's like when she said like, step back, you should step back. Like, bitch, you're not the boss of me, right? Like, it's just, I don't know, man. I think she's very, very arrogant. And it's like she said, oh, I'm a very confident woman. No, I think you're just very arrogant. I think you think you're better than others. That's why your reality seems you're the good guy here. When, in essence, you know, you're not. Now, you weren't at fault at this specific scenario, right? I think the situation that you, you know, encountered, or actually not encountered, that you described, and let's say, this situation actually, happened, right? Because I like to believe people whenever they talk about these kind of things. But let's say this situation happened, right? Then you always can do better. I'm not saying others' behaviors, you can't criticize others' behaviors, but there's always a way where you could have acted better than you did, right? And that's not shaming or like anything like that. That's just a fact. Because sometimes you come into a situation and you completely, misunderstand the situation or the intentions of someone, and you react a little bit too severe than you should have, right? And also, the whole thing about her like describing the situation, this is her perspective. What if we have the different, scenario, or the different side of the story from the dude? What if all he did was just, come close, so, he would be in talking distance, and for her that would be too much, right? We don't know if she was standing, like, let's say she was standing right here, right? And this guy is standing right here. Let's say this was the real scenario, right? And she said, "You're too close." Right? Because she didn't say he was here. She didn't specify on where he was standing. So that's also another scenario, or another, like, very important detail in the story that is just lacking in us, for us to understand what the actual situation was about, right? And that's why I don't want to just instantly believe people. I just want to be very critical about that, because people lie. All right? That's a inherent truth. People lie, especially if they want to prove a point. They're not gonna tell the truth if a lie would reinforce their agendas or their motives. They're gonna lie so to make it even more believable. Now, I'm not saying she lied. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying I don't believe her because I don't have enough evidence to believe her. But that's just how I, react to situations. I like to have both truths, before I can make a solid, educated guess on who is in the wrong and who wasn't. That's what the court also does.
Understand that. But those are those individuals. I think it's also important to note that there are men out there that are not like this. And if your whole rhetoric is just men full stop, men are this, men are that, it sets a very bad precedent, and people don't really want to support you because it comes off as you being sexist, where it might come from a good place. No,
it doesn't come from a good place. The moment you generalize a gender or race or anything other than something that people are not in control of, that is not a good point. That's never a good argument, and it will never be something that will fall, that people will take as something non-offensive. Especially if you are grouped in that specific, how do I call it? That specific scenario or generalization, right?
It ends up coming off like you're just being hateful. For example, if a guy only had bad experiences with women and then he uses, like, those podcasts where they bring in the worst examples of women and then uses those as examples to say, you see women, how they are? Fucking women, am I right? So entitled and shit, these freaking women, and he has a platform and he is doing this to try and raise awareness or, market his business or what have you. It's going to set the precedent that, all women are bad. So people are going to see them through that light. And then when people call him out on it, say he's sexist, well, obviously I didn't mean all women. But then after that, he just continues generalizing them all the time.
Yeah.
And those are the only examples he'll use. And he'll never call out when other guys do things that are wrong. Or if guys do something blatantly wrong, he'll take the guy's side and say, well, the women must have done something. And it's like,
yeah, but that's what the other side also does. Women defend other women, and men will defend other men. That's just That's just how it works. All right. The moment somebody victimizes a man of something that that isn't very provable, they'll defend the men, especially if they have experience with women being lying about certain stuff. Like, they will be very skeptical and they'll trust something they know, and that is a man. They're more close to a man, so they trust that more easily. Just like when black people, they will believe another black person before they believe another white person. That doesn't mean they're racist. That just means that they are, they have a more mental connection to that person compared to the other. It's just they're more similar than they are different. So that's why they would easily trust somebody more than they would trust somebody else. And that's just psychology. That's just a very human thing to do. We will trust things that we know, and we don't trust things that we don't know, or we know less.
Bro, you can't just be on one side of the equation and expect people to think that you're a decent human being and, to believe anything you say at that point, because now you're being disingenuous. So that's something that kind of put me off with the things that she has said. So we fast forward to her making this gym for women.
Oh man, but it'll always be a man. I hate these comments are so telling, man. No man, but it'll always be a man. Yeah, because men are inherently more aggressive than women are. If men were more dominant than or if women were more dominant than men, this would be completely opposite. Women destroy other people's life by socially destroying them, and men are destroying people physically, in general, right? They are in general more likely to use violence, physical violence, and women are in general more likely to use social destruction. They have more power in their words than they have in their physical ability to hurt somebody. So that's why they use that tactic instead of physical violence. Men are physically more prone, so they will use physical violence instead of their words, because it's less effective. Especially for men. Men don't really care about what other people say about them. If they have any sort of like either integrity or any sort of like ego or something like that, right? Like some very strong feeling and no like hatred against themselves, they don't care, bro. If they are confident in who they are, somebody can say whatever the fuck they want about him, he's not gonna give a shit. But the moment you're gonna pull out somebody who cares about, that's when shit goes down.
It is always going to be a man. I'll repeat that. It is always going to be a man. And
it's always gonna be a woman that's scantily dressed in a gym. How about you buy some sweatpants that go to your fucking knees instead of that shit being on the top of your fucking hip? How about you actually buy a top that fits you? Like, it's so dumb, bruh. Like, I don't want to be objectified. Meanwhile, they wear this. What do you expect?
I never want to hear, it's not all men ever again, because it is fucking enough of them. Yes, it's not my dad, it's not my brother, it's not my boyfriend, but it will fundamentally always be a man. Because even when men come across women-only spaces, knowing they aren't welcome, they'll still find a fucking way to ruin it. And as a women's-only gym owner, this shit...
Women do the same thing. Men have a good thing going. Men have specific spaces that, you know, were very beloved and very accepting. Looking at gaming, alright? The moment women entered these spaces, shit went to fuck. Alright? Games became woke and garbage. Women start to complain about hot bitches in video games. Suddenly, hot bitches in video games started disappearing. Women do the same shit. Alright? Like, I'm not going to defend either side, okay? I think both are bad, okay? I don't think... I think it's good that men and women have different kind of hobbies, different kind of facilities or opportunities or whatever, right? I think that's fine. I think that's good. I think as long as the person is willing to do something that they like, they should do it, right? And I also think that these spaces should be open to anyone. Doesn't matter your race, gender, whatever, right? But don't go into a space that you already hate, right? Or you already dislike, or you are already not a fan of, and try to change it because you think that would be better for you. Bitch, this is not your space. It's not made for you. It's not something you like already. And then you're gonna come in, insert yourself into this specific space or hobby or whatever, and try to ruin it. Even though we had a good thing going. But you had to get with your big fat ass into it. Stay out of people's business, bro. Stay out of like hobbies or spaces that you don't want to have any like interaction with. It's so dumb. And here this woman saying, "Oh, it's so telling. Men always interrupt women-only spaces." Yeah, women do the same thing, bro. I like recently there was like this post about I think this woman said something about like complimenting men, right? And there was like she asked what's your favorite compliment you've received as a man, right? And people men in the comments were coming up with all the compliments they got, and then some women came in talking about like I don't even know what they were saying, bro. It was just a bunch of gibberish. I couldn't even remember it. That's how retarded it was. Like, bro, this is not your opportunity to be fucking victimizing yourself. Oh yeah, but this happened to me, bro. This was about men receiving what kind of compliments and what their favorite one was. It was not your time and space to talk about your issues. You have plenty of other like spaces and opportunities to talk about that shit. You do that all the fucking time. But the moment some men actually show up, open up about their problems, issues, maybe even being vulnerable, for God's sakes, there's always these stupid ass women that come in and ruin everything. It's not all women, but it's always a woman. Like, imagine if I said that shit. I'm not. I'm specifying the behavior that these women exhibit. I'm not saying women do this. I'm saying these specific women that exhibit these specific behaviors are fucking annoying and should shut the fuck up. It's very simple.
Shit terrifies me because I know that gym harassment and harassment in general far extends the four walls of a fucking gym, because there are men like that out there. And I think to myself,
true,
if I do this, am I doing enough? Will women still be safe? Will we still face the exact same fucking problems?
Okay, so my problem that I had with this was, first of all, bruh. But second of all,
men don't get punched enough? Jesus, I didn't even see that one.
saying it is always going to be men, people repeating the phrase, not all man, but will always be a man, that's just really confusing to me, because he ruined the experience. Maybe he was curious. Maybe that wasn't the thing to do. Maybe his wife was in there. There's not enough context given to this tiny clip.
Correct.
That somebody put in there. Was he being creepy? Maybe. From what I saw in the clip, this guy is taking pictures. I don't know. Maybe he's gay. Maybe his wife was in there. Maybe he is there because his wife is like, hey, can you take a picture of what it looks like so that I can know? And he's like, okay, this is the facility. This is what it looks like inside.
You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of a hornet nest. The moment something comes close to the nest, they retaliate with all ignorance. They don't care what it is, what the intention is. They retaliate. They'll see it's bad. This is wrong. We need to eliminate this. There's no coherent thinking whatsoever. There's no replacing themselves in other people's shoes at all in this situation. It's only focus on straight ignorance.
You know, whatever. We don't know anything. How can you just, from this little 2-second clip, decipher that the dude is creepy or that he means ill? And the thing is, I know people are going to get on me about this, but it's so ridiculous because I have done this. If I have an establishment and I'm like, okay, I want to show my husband or show someone, one of my friends, hey, this is what the establishment looks like. I will go up to the establishment, either take a picture of the hours, like the business hours.
It's still a public building. People are allowed to take pictures of it. Doesn't matter what kind of ill intent they have. Even if he's like making a picture, you know, messaging their boy, like, oh, look at this retarded bitch made an female only gym. Like, whatever, who cares? Who cares? He can do whatever the fuck he wants. Until he physically assaults you, then yeah. He didn't do anything wrong. He can do whatever he wants. It's a free country, bro.
Take a picture of the place where it is, go inside, take some internal pictures, and you know what else I do that for? Reviews. Because on Google Reviews and on some of these other sites where you get to review places, you can put pictures of the place so that they can update them on the maps and stuff. Like when you use Waze and whatnot.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Pictures of the facility, it gives people a better idea of what to look for if they're driving by and haven't seen the area before. So how can you decide that this man means evil just off a 2-second clip? Who is he? Why is he there? This is the kind of thing.
Why are you creepily taking pictures of this man taking pictures of something? Why are you taking pictures of him? He's not taking pictures of you. What gives you the right to take a picture of him? You know, that's the problem with this, man. Like they want to like solidify this like opinion and like this bias against men by you know, exposing them by what they're doing, right? But you're just a stalker, bro. You're taking a picture of some random fucking guy on the streets. Ironically enough, you're criticizing him for doing the exact same thing outside of taking pictures of a real human being and just picturing a public fucking building. You're taking a picture of a whole ass human. What makes you... It's so dumb, man. Like, the logic here is just flawed.
I'm talking about, and you know what? I don't even feel sorry for this woman because what I'm going to show you later that ends up happening is a clear example of hate begetting hate. She's not even calling out, oh, this man is doing something hateful. It's like you're hating just to hate. I would have found out, why is he doing this, first of all? What is the point?
No, you're minding your own business. That's what you do. You don't have to do this. You don't have to find out what he's doing. Because that's none of your fucking business. You don't have to encroach into his life. He's taking a picture of this place for whatever reason. It's not gonna affect your life. If it's not gonna affect your life, fuck off.
And this kind of thing also breeds fear, because you are basically making women feel as though every man's activity is a reason for them to be afraid and has some kind of alternate agenda. This kind of thing is not good for women who are victims of assault, because now you're just heightening their reason to be ultra reactionary towards every freaking man possible. Not just wary or cautious to protect themselves, but just highly reactive.
For all you know, he Googled or like looked for gyms on Google Maps. He didn't read it correctly. He showed up. And then he's like, oh shit, this is a woman-only gym. And then he showed that picture to his mates. It's like, oh bro, I looked up a gym and my dumbass didn't read it correctly, and now I'm in front of a female-only gym. Ha ha ha, lol. Like, for all you know, that's what happened. Like, it's like, this is what either trauma or overthinking does, man. Sometimes you just gotta, you know, just mind your own business. You know, it's none of your business.
Kind of what the media does with ethnicity and the sexes and genders as well. This is not cool. So anyway, good for her. She starts her business, you know, make it be successful, whatever. I think it would be pretty ridiculous for them to be like, let's put guards outside, because someone was calling for that. Let's put guards outside of the establishment. I'm just curious, which guards would you feel safest with?
Ah, yes. Yeah, let's hire security guards. Let's hire security guards, women. Fellow women. Let's hire some security guards. And what are you going for? Ooh, I'm going for this guy that's like 6'11", big and bulky, very strong, very intimidating. Yes. Great. Because all of a sudden you can differentiate what men are what men can actually be trusted and which can't. Oh yeah. Makes sense. Yeah. Very funny.
To protect you against men. Would it be female guards?
Absolutely not.
Because then wouldn't you be also putting them in the line of danger if a man were to come there and fuck them up? Or would you want another big 6'5" male bodyguard to protect you? You
Damn
see,
right.
the double standard kind of gets weird, because I'm pretty sure all the women there would be like, oh, if it's a security guard and he's built like the freaking Reacher guy, then yes, I would feel safe. But if it's someone like me who's a 5'2" woman and she's outside there being a guard, most of these women would not feel safe. So do not freaking lie. So she starts the women's only gym. And of course, the topic comes up, well, what about trans women?
No, because you're a dude. End of discussion.
Said this back in 2021.
Of course, trans women are welcome at my women's only gym. I don't see trans women as trans women.
What?
I see trans women as women.
Okay.
Well. You heard that from her own mouth. So she sees trans women as just women. Now look, I get the whole identity thing. I understand body dysmorphia. I mean, I don't understand it because I'm not living in it. I have a form of it with my chest area, but I kind of can empathize. I also understand that a lot of people are using the trans identity as some kind of fad to like fit in with people, or just be like, oh, I must be trans because of these 5 things that are on the guideline that happens to also align with trans people. I have them too.
That goes the same with like autism and ADHD. They find out some like details about a certain mental illness that they for some reason want to identify as, even though they've never even like visited any psychiatric expert whatsoever. But they just claim that, oh well, I've experienced this and this behavior, and that correlates with this and this mental illness. So surely I have this mental illness. Like, if you're so sure, go get yourself evaluated and, you know, actually get a doctor, a professional to, you know, actually, what's it called again? I forgot the name. Evaluated. No, that's not the term. Whatever. That, you know what I mean. You know what I mean.
Along with a host of other things, so trans must be the only thing that I am, and I don't agree with that. I also agree when other trans people have said, yes, we are trans women. Not women, trans women. Hence, you wouldn't need the trans. Trans means you were transitioning to a woman, or you want to transition to a woman.
What? Wait, you were transitioning to a woman, or you want... Oh, okay, never mind. I'm stupid. Yeah. Sure.
You cannot already be a woman and then transition to a woman, because then you would have already been a woman. It's not hateful to say that. That's just what the case is. And I would like to believe that most trans people understand this. But then you open up your mouth and say, well, I personally see trans women as just women, full stop, period.
Okay, well, that's her opinion. I don't agree with it, but that's her opinion. And if she wants to, go with that, that's fine.
He said this. Let's hear it again, just for those who skipped the video.
Of course, trans women are welcome at my women's only gym. I don't see trans women as trans women. I see trans women as women. So 100,000% trans women.
She also doubles down with this tweet, which she looks like she posted in 2021, where she says,
respectfully, if you have a problem with trans women attending my gym, then you can find another gym to train at. I've discussed this several times before. Wait, what?
I'm sorry I'm laughing. It's just...
Hold on. Yeah, several times before. Trans women are...
The irony of everything that's happened. She says, respectfully, if you have a problem with trans women attending my gym, then you can find another gym to train at. I have discussed this several times before. Trans women are women and also a minority that need to be protected. Okay, please keep your transphobia away.
I like that she got the same Zoom thing I have and I use. We're very similar. I already feel very connected to this woman. Anyway.
Wait, protected from what?
Yeah, from what?
What the frick is going on? Okay, whatever. That's what she said. She doubled down on this. So for her to now come out and make this statement.
The Girl Spot gym founder says it will only be for biological women and not trans inclusive. That's just comedy, bro. That's comedy. So she manipulated these people thinking that they would donate to her cause and then eliminate the people that she enticed to contribute to her cause. Wow. Wow. That's some mighty fine manipulation there, woman.
Is freaking wild. So now she has to address the tweet that she put up. And I'm glad that she does this, but ma'am, you were your own undoing. Your first mistake, which none of this would have happened if you hadn't started your whole shit with your man-hating comments. Because the whole reason you made this gym in the first place was under the guise of you trying to protect women from men.
In 2021, 4 years ago, I made a tweet, and the tweet referenced my women's only gym, the Girl Spot, and being trans inclusive. Now, when I made that tweet in 2021, I had just announced my plans to open a women's only gym.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought out the vision or the mission or what it would entail, but all I knew is that I wanted to open a gym. We are now 4 years later, and I have had a great deal of time to figure that out. The Girl Spot Gym exists as a safe space for women because women are facing gym harassment, sexual assault, and sexual violence inside of gyms. And I know that because I'm a victim of it. So the meaning of the Girl Spot Gym is now entirely different. And I say this to say that whilst we are a gym, inside we are focusing on self-defense classes, Muay Thai, boxing classes, as well as workshops and
That's completely bullshit. Listen, man. I know that is like very like mean or whatever, or perceived as very I don't know. I think mean is the best thing to describe it as. When you say that women taking like these classes to like self-defend them are worthless. Okay? Because the moment you're trying to be on equal footing with a man, you better be in the top 10% of female fighters. Otherwise, you're not beating the majority of men. Like, yeah, sure, if they teach you, like, oh, poke his eye out if you can. Yeah, that makes sense. But trying to fist fight a dude, you're fighting a losing battle. For the majority of women, you're fighting a losing battle. All right?
activations around PCOS. And
honestly, I think all of this is exceptional. I think it's a great thing that she's doing for women, not...
No, it's giving women false courage. It's actually more dangerous. It's like, giving somebody a gun, convincing them they have bullets in them, and whenever they try to shoot, it can't shoot because it doesn't have bullets in them. Women, even though they can train to fight, you know, they can train to become strong, right? And I'm not saying all of them, all right? There's plenty of women that can beat my ass. 100%. I'm not denying that. But I'm only 5'7", bro. I'm not that tall. You know, like, if you go against some 6'5" dude, you better be like some top ranked fighter. Otherwise, you're not doing shit. You know, it's just body mass versus body mass. That's why there's like weight differences in boxing and other fighting sports. The moment you're against another body class, you're not doing anything. You know, even if you're trained or not. That's the issue here. So women doing these self-defense classes, just giving them false courage, which might actually get them killed. You know, running is always the best option. Always. Avoiding danger. That's what people train. People that train martial arts, they learn self-discipline and they learn what the best course of action is. And 89%, if not 90% of the time, avoiding the danger or avoiding the conflict is the best solution. It's never smart to go in guns blazing in every encounter because you think you can win. What if he's not alone? What if some other dude that comes around the corner that's with him? Then you're a 2v1. You see how dumb it is? It's not smart. And these like self-defense classes barely teach you anything. They're not teaching you really good things at all. You're not gonna get stronger from them. You're not gonna be a Jackie Chan, you know? Like I said, if you're gonna like learn self-defense, you better start learning how to run. All right?
Not just a gym, but teaching them self-defense classes if that's in fact what's going on. The problem is you doubled down and you made it very apparent back then that, hey guys,
what's this gameplay I'm looking at, by the way? What am I looking at, bro? Why do I look like there's a pig and a cow? Like, what?
I need donations. So yes, of course I'm trans inclusive. And the thing that people don't think about, and I know this is very unfortunate, and I know that this is a deeper discussion because it can also come off as hateful for people making these arguments, you know, if the right care is not put into how they phrase things, because, you know, words trigger people nowadays.
Yep.
But here's the thing, and it is really sucky because trans women are biologically men or were assigned male at birth.
Correct.
Trans men are biologically female. So here's the thing, right? I'm sorry, but trans men usually pass better than trans women do. It just
maybe from a woman's perspective, yes. Me being a man, I disagree. I disagree.
This is what it is. People have admitted it. Trans people have admitted it. It's not me being hateful. It's just me being truthful. It is much easier for a woman.
Oh, yeah. I agree. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It is much easier for a man to look like a man, or a woman to look like a man, than it is a man to look like a woman. That's correct. No, I didn't understand her correctly. Yeah, I agree.
To get on testosterone and to do all those things and exhibit those male characteristics, even if she still has some of those features, it's a lot easier. When I've seen like...
Yeah, because you can actually explain what a man is. It's actually very easy to explain how a man looks, how he acts, what he does, what he thinks. Women are way more complex because they are very like, there's a lot of variety, you know? Like, it's very difficult to pinpoint what is female behavior because that's deemed sexist. But whenever you say that's male behavior, that's okay to say. You know? So that's already very difficult because they're trying to, like, embody a role that they aren't allowed to actually classify as such. You know?
The comparisons and stuff, much easier most of the time in general for trans men to pass as actual biological men than for trans women, because the thing is, testosterone plays a very big part in the bone structure, height, muscle mass, and all of that. And after you've had testosterone, you kind of can't reverse that. Like, you can grow things and whatnot, but the bone structure in your frame, it's very, very hard unless you go through surgery to get those things done. You have examples like Blair White, where she can pass, as she says, And even still, you know, with her voice and stuff and with some of the structures, some people can tell. And you're lucky if you, apparently it's a privilege if people can't tell right off the jump. So
yeah, because you're making pretend. You're trying to fool people into thinking that you're something that you're not. Now, I don't have a problem with like people that are trans, you know, if they really think that this helped their, you know, mental or physical or whatever, right? If this helped their life improve in any significant way, then all power to you, right? But from all of the research that has been done, that's also not the case. Maybe a couple people actually improved due to transitioning, but the majority of them are still either struggling with mental health issues, body dysmorphia, other issues that they were already struggling with when they were still the gender or the sex that they were assigned at birth. So even if you're gonna say, oh well, I do it because it will help me, there's no medical evidence that that is true. You know? Like, how hard is it? Okay, like, let's say there's this woman, right? And she is convinced that she's a man, right? Why go through all the trouble of trying to become a man if you can just behave how you want? You don't need to be a man to act like one. You know? You can be a manly woman. Like, just like there's feminine men. And yeah, sure, most of them are gay, but there's feminine men that aren't. You know? It's just, we as human beings are very, how you say this? We as human beings are very diverse. And we can exhibit a lot of different kinds of behavior. Right? And some men are, you know, bordering more on feminine, and some women bordering more on masculine. And that's okay. If you're a girl and you don't want to wear a dress, don't wear a dress. If you're a guy and you want to wear, and you don't want to, I don't know, what's like a manly thing that's, let's say you're a man, but you don't like to work out, then don't work out. You know, it's so, I don't know, man. It's just dumb. It's just very stupid. What's up, Mosky? What's good?
Question I would ask, if women are going to this gym because they feel triggered by men, it's not even just the trans woman issue. Let's say some guy just decides, hey, I just identify as a woman, because you don't even actually have to legitimately be trans. You can just say you're trans and people just have to believe you. And he's like, I just want to gain access, and he's a creep or something, and he wants to gain access. What the frick is this game? Sorry, my brain.
Wait, hold on. She is watching the same content I'm watching right now? Damn, that's a bit of an immersion break. I thought it was edited, but she's watching the same content I'm watching. Okay.
Yeah, if he just says that he's trans and he wants to gain access to see women, because, you know, creepy guys would do that. They'd be like, ooh, a gym full of only women. I'll be the only actual guy. All I gotta do is say I'm a woman, say I'm trans, and I'm in. I get to look at women work out all day and see what they're doing. So easy. That's all you have to do. Are you trans? You don't look like a woman. You don't look like you're trying to be a woman. No, I am trans though. I am. So
yeah.
Okay. I guess you get to come in. Or if a guy puts on a wig and he's like, you know what? I'll just say I'm trans. Comes at the door. They're like, why are you here? I'm a woman. You said trans women are women, so you can't not let me in. Duh. Okay, you get to come in. And then these women that are in there that do not want to be around.
This is why it's very important to not blur the lines between men and women. Listen to the song? Yeah, I did. It wasn't really my thing though.
Men or they were victims of assault, and they're looking over at this biological dude who's just staring at them, or in the locker room when he whips out his freaking 8-incher, and then they're like, okay, you know, this is not what I signed up for. Like, at that point, what are you supposed to do? And I'm pretty sure this woman, she had to eat her freaking words because maybe she was losing business. And I'm sorry, this thing is freaking distracting as hell. I don't know what's going on with this game, but
what is this game, bro?
There's a better one. Yeah, so what was I saying? Yeah, that's a very tricky situation. And I think these women probably came out and told her, look, we don't want to come here if you're going to have actual men in your gym, because no matter what they think they are or what they say they are, it's triggering to me because this guy's staring at me and he's a dude and all I can see is the face of my aggressor. I'm just going to respectfully leave because...
Also, I want to like defend this statement a little bit because, you know, I want to like pick eat one side. I'm very neutral about a lot of things. I don't think men inherently will transition to become a woman just so they can creep on women. I don't think that is the most logical thing that they would do. You know? So you could assume that most trans women would not behave as creepy dudes. I think. But that's just speculation.
You said that men want to come in our spaces, and here are these biological men that you can't really prove are trans or not that are coming into our space. And here's the other issue, right? The whole thing just starts
to fan, but I would never think it's okay to share a bathroom with a female. Yeah, for real.
Trans men who do
there's boundaries, you know,
very well as actual men. So, but they're biological women, and you said that only biological women can come to your gym. So you got people like this trans man. As I said, they're
Listen, man, this is such a skill issue. Imagine you're on testosterone and you look like this shit. I am sorry, bro. I am genuinely sorry, but that is pathetic. That is pathetic. Holy shit. Hey, good on him for being, you know, all, how you say it? Comfortable in his body, but I would be embarrassed if I looked like that while I was taking testosterone.
Really good at passing, and
wow, he can dip what, 5 pounds? Bravo, bro! You're such a man. Holy shit, man! Holy shit!
You know, looking hot, and he's like, yeah,
wow,
I'm gonna work out at this gym. Wow, I'm a biological woman. You gonna check inside my shorts to see if I have a puss, bro? But look at this.
You're so mid. Oh, it's so mid, bro. Oh my days.
You know, and then are these women that are threatened gonna be like, he looks like a dude, and the trans man is like, yeah, but I don't have the object that would be responsible for violating you. But then when they look at him, they're gonna be like, yeah, but you look like a dude though. Like, you see what I'm saying? The whole thing just kind of falls apart, and it's kind of hilarious because the thing is, she started this. She's the one who started this whole thing, and now
you could just tell. You could just tell. This woman just Googled how men behave, and now she's just imitating how men should behave. Like, look at her. Like, she looked up how to side bicep. Like, I'm sorry, bro. Oh god. Having like armpit hair and shit, thinking, oh, that's manly. Bro, she's even balding. Crazy.
She is getting freaking flamed. And I don't really blame the trans people in this situation because, first of all, you said with your own mouth and then doubled down that it was trans exclusive. And yes, trans inclusive, sorry. And then she said, do not ask me this question again. You know, of course, trans women are women. And then you're walking it back after these people gave you donations and supported you and everything, only for you to come out and be like, yeah, you know, on second thought, I didn't actually think this through like most business people would. And yeah, we can't have trans women in there.
Honestly, I don't think it's bad of her to say what she said. I think she should have said it the honest way. She should have been honest, saying, well, maybe not honest. I don't know what her honesty was, but let's say she thought that at the time. That was 4 years ago, right? in those 4 years, a lot of shit happened. A lot of shit changed, right? So somebody's opinion would change. So I would, if that was my statement or my project or my company or whatever, I would formally declare that, yes, I used to think this. We are 4 years later now, and I have reconsidered this whole trans women being women. You know? I think a lot of people would still be angry, but I think a lot of people would like respect her honesty, because a lot of people like respect when people say things very respectfully and honestly, you know? But this is more like, oh yeah, I was being an idiot, oh goofy me. Like, no one's gonna respect that. That's dumb.
I know what I said, but you know, I said what I said, and I'm unsaying what I said.
All of which occur to biological women. Majority of the women who are seeking my women's only gym, the Girl Spot, are coming here because they have faced some level of gym intimidation or sexual violence and assault that has been perpetrated by men. So as the owner of the gym, it is very important to make it clear how my women's only gym will be operating, and it will be operating as a single-sex space for biological women. Now, we do believe that everybody deserves a safe space, and there are many gyms that are starting to have mixed cubicles and changing rooms so that individuals can feel safer and more included in these environments. But the Girl Spot gym as a standalone is a female-only gym because it is imperative that I stick to the vision and the mission and ensure that these women feel safe.
Okay, fair enough. But girly, you did come out and say that trans women are women. So by your own logic, what exactly are you keeping them safe from now excluding trans women? Unless you're gonna walk back that statement and say that trans women are not actually women, because you can't be both. Just say.
You know, you could say that maybe, let's say she still thinks this, right? But if her customers, right, her gym members, you know, don't think this, then she's going to prioritize the opinion of her customers, right? I think if all her customers say it's okay, then it wouldn't have been that she wouldn't have said this. I don't think her opinion about whether a trans woman is a woman or not is relevant in this instance. I think it is more who is bringing more money in, and obviously, considering statistically there's more females on Earth than there are trans women on Earth, so statistically there's got to be more customers that, you know, are going to pay for a female only gym than somebody who, you know, accepts mentally delusional men. You know, it's a normal business practice, prioritizing the biggest audience.
I'm going to give my take that nobody asked for over the safe space gym. Who is it safe for? Who is it for? Who is safe in your gym? If you're saying that trans women are not welcome or safe in your gym, the most vulnerable women in the UK at the moment, in this specific cultural moment, because of what's happening in the US, Project 2025, and what's...
Oh, Lord. Okay.
Oh, that was amazing. The reaction of her, man.
The most vulnerable women in the UK at the moment, in this specific cultural moment, because of what's happening in the US, Project 2025, and what's...
Oh, Lord. Okay. Here's the thing. Like, unless you live in, like, the Middle East and certain countries like that, where people are actually, like, you know, people who are trans or gay, don't really know what these people are talking about, and maybe I can't speak on it because I don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
I don't like this opinion. I don't like this whole, like, oh, there's people that have it worse. No, I think you should acknowledge that people's struggles are real. And I do believe that she says, like, oh, yeah, sure, there's definitely going to be a lot of trans women that are having a lot of issues because they're trans. I don't disagree on that. I think that's a very valid opinion, and I think it's a very valid struggle that they're going to be, you know, that should be taken seriously. Because even though I don't agree with the initial, how you say this, their beliefs, that doesn't mean I don't want to, how I say this. That doesn't mean I don't want these people to have good lives, right? I don't want people to suffer just because other people are going to make them suffer, if that makes sense. Question. Sometimes I was curious. Something I was curious about. Last time we voice chatted played. Before I left, I mentioned how it was fun and would love to play again. We have to see about that. I'm very curious what it's just a go because I was very. No, not at all. Not, bro. Listen, I haven't touched a game since then. I have not played any games after that. Outside of the games I played on the stream. Like my free time has been chaotic, to say the least. So that's not it at all. You don't have to worry about that at all. That's not at all. Okay, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so the struggles are definitely a real thing. And I don't want to disregard them.
I'm hearing two sides of the coin. I'm hearing a bunch of trans people and trans allies saying they're dangerous. It's just a step outside, even though I'm seeing quite the opposite in a lot of these videos.
Yeah, but the danger they're talking about is criticism online or people talking badly about them online. There's not a pandemic of trans women getting beat the fuck up. You know? Like, the danger they're facing is criticism online. You know?
Videos of trans people being super aggressive towards people who accidentally misgender them or who are just being assholes. But someone's being an asshole to you. Someone calls me a bad name. I'm not going to be able to go over there and punch them. I'm going to be like, okay, keep walking. And
yeah, but they're mentally deranged men. Like, of course they're going to be aggressive because they're still men and they're mentally deranged. You know, they're unstable. Of course they're going to behave like unstable, you know?
Distance myself from that person that I now not feel safe from. But then I also have the other flip side of the coin where there are trans people and even people who are trans allies who are like, yeah, this is what we are. We get it. And I'm fine. I don't know what people are talking about. But when you constantly fear mongering, you're going to make trans people feel more afraid and then act out in a way from fear that's going to be aggressive that puts them more as a target. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. But then again, I probably don't know what I'm talking about. So I'm sure someone's going to correct me and educate me in the comments. But here's the thing I don't understand, right? It is kind of messed up, yeah, that people don't want you in a space. I understand how that can feel very ostracizing.
Oh.
But the way that I grew up, like, if people don't want me somewhere, I'm not going to want to be somewhere where I'm not wanted. You know, it for me.
And also it's very funny that she doesn't acknowledge this at all, considering she's a black woman. You would think that if anyone would be against discrimination based on something they can change, that they're born as. Okay, well, it's not really born as. It is, kinda, I guess. I don't know, maybe. But something that they, you know, that they are, right? You can't accept how somebody is. You would think a black woman would understand that more, right? But maybe that's generalizing, you know?
Me personally, it is the biggest insult, and I make myself look worse if people are like, well, we didn't invite you to our party. And I'm going to be like, well, I want to go to your party. You need to let me in. I'm just like, bro, why would you even want to be somewhere where people clearly don't want you?
True.
I don't understand. These women are screaming that they don't want you there. For whatever reason, I don't think it's just, oh, we hate trans people. It's that a lot of people abuse the system and say they're trans, but they're not. And then you actually end up with people in harm's way. And yes, it doesn't help when the community is like, well, that person says they're trans, so they're trans, so just let them in the bathroom or let them in this woman's space. And then when that person does something wrong, the only thing that the community comes out, the vocal ones, not all of them, but the vocal ones of the community come out and say is, well, don't misgender that person, even though it's very clear the person was just using the guise of being trans to gain access to people who are actually weaker than the biological sex, because males biologically are stronger than us. It's not hateful to say that. Yeah. It is true. Like, if I were to go in a wrestling match with my husband, I would get freaking clocked. Like, there's no competition. even if a guy is like smaller than me, let's say he's a 4-foot guy or something like that, his muscle mass and structure alone, I would get decked. I'd probably be able to.
I don't know how big she is, but 4 foot? I don't know.
To be like, use his momentum and like leave or something, but strength to strength,
True.
he's winning. It just is what it is. Yes, you have outliers, but they're not the norm. So then you have
Exceptions don't make the rule. Yeah, correct.
These women are like, oh my gosh, I feel this way, and you know, I just don't want males around me. Like I don't want. First of all,
Yeah, it's like victim blaming almost, saying, oh, you have to accept trans women because we feel that we are women. But then you're just disregarding the trauma these women experience from real men, saying that, oh, well, we're different. That's just invalidating their trauma. That's just saying, oh, you're wrong about me. Well, if she doesn't feel that, and somebody who's trans should know that feelings are very important, right? Because you feel that you're a woman, so you urge everyone to accept that you're one. You would assume that these people would understand that if somebody who's got traumatized or got something badly between a man and her, you should respect and expect respect for those feelings, because feelings are very important to your whole thing. You know, otherwise you're just a hypocrite.
all women who act like that or women who are like that, you need therapy, because men exist in the real world, whether it be biological men, trans men, or whatever. They exist in the real world. You're going to come upon these people. So if you do not get the therapy to be able to deal with these situations, you cannot expect that the world is just going to cave to you and just be like, you know what, we're going to make you feel completely safe in this world. Nothing is ever going to happen to you again. Or what? You have a defense class. I understand internal building spaces should be respected, but you have a lot of these women walking around like everyone must make intercession for them against men in general or men in public. And my thing is, work on that and stay at home or do something, you know, away from everyone. Invest in getting machines at home like I have, so you don't have to deal with people looking at you or whatever. Because I understand it could be annoying, but the reality is you're still going to have to run into those people. Likewise, with the trans community, you're going to run into those individuals like those women as well, who, like you, feel as though they're unprotected. And they may not want biological men in their spaces because of what is happening with people abusing the system. And I'm not even going to say no trans people do crimes at all, because we know that's not the case. A lot of these trans individuals still have that testosterone. And if the people are going to tote the whole toxic masculinity thing, there might be situations where they haven't dealt with their trauma either, and then they put it on somebody else. Women do the same thing too. This isn't just for trans men or trans women, it's for trans men as well. The difference is that most of the time when a trans woman says that they are trans and they're biologically male, most of the time from what we've seen, they are a lot stronger. And yes, there is sometimes in cases where they get mad, where a biological woman might look at a biological man who's losing his shit and be fucking scared out of their minds, because the truth is, if things were to pop off, whether that trans woman thinks that she is fully woman or not, obviously from how things look, you can easily hurt that biological woman because you are stronger. You're like the super soldier version of that. And it's not me being mean, it is just what it is. So I understand in some cases why certain women, especially if they were victims of these crimes, would feel like this. But then you have trans men who look like men. So what, you're going to kick them out because they look like a man? Because if they tell you, hey, I'm a biological woman, what are you going to do?
Yeah, but that's not going to happen, because trans men, why would they want to be in spaces for the gender that they rejected? Why would they want to do that? That doesn't make sense.
Are you going to draw them in the back and have them take down their pants and prove it to you? Now you're going to have harassment cases on your hand, and this business is going to have a million different lawsuits before it even gets off the ground. And all of this started from this woman saying, yes, it's going to be trans inclusive. And from also saying, Yes, women need protection from men in general. Men are disgusting. Men are, and she didn't say that verbatim. I'm just saying that's the kind of
Yeah, that's probably what she thinks. It's not a stretch.
message that you're putting out there. And now you're shocked that this is blowing up in your face.
Not. Hey, you do not. What are you doing? What? You do not take pictures of me.
Trust me, he did not take pictures of you, bro. Nobody wants pictures of you, bro. Nobody.
Well, excuse me, it's ma'am. It is ma'am.
I can call the police if you'd like me to.
Bro got a deeper voice than me. What you mean you're a man, bro? Like...
You need to settle down.
You need to settle down and mind your business, okay? Both of you guys? Ma'am, once again, ma'am.
I said both of you.
No, you said sir. Once again, it's ma'am.
I actually said both of you guys. It was a general.
Right beforehand, you fucking said sir.
Yeah, and then he corrected himself, you moron. Get over it.
Sir? Okay.
Motherfucker, take it outside. If you want to call me sir again, I will show you.
Look, it's the peaceful trans people that won't harass women, right? That are completely safe to be in women-only spaces. Yeah. Yeah.
Fucking sir.
I apologize.
Motherfucker.
I apologize now.
Now,
Ooh. Those boxes definitely hurt. Wow.
I showed those clips, not to, try and elicit anything except for perspective, because I think that's very important. Just as I would not go up to a little 4-year-old child and start hovering over them and threatening them and being angry, I'm aware that I could beat that child up. You have to be aware. You have to read the freaking room. And if a child is used to being abused by grown-ups, hit by them and stuff like that, and you're trying to make the child feel safe because you are physically stronger than them, it doesn't matter if I decide to be like, you know what, I see myself as a child, the child is not going to see you that way. They have PTSD. It is what it is. And it's your job to be like, you know what? It sucks. This makes me feel like shit because I didn't do anything to this person. But instead of being angry and aggressive, let me try and be the best representation of my community and show these women that there's nothing to be threatened over. One of the ways you do that is not forcing yourself into their space, but creating your own space and saying, you know what? Trans people are all welcome. And women, you are welcome too. You have to be better than the people that you claim are out to get you, because you will just end up, the people who are thinking the worst of you, you're going to end up proving them right if you show them the worst of you. Even if it's frustrating for you, you have to see things from their perspective. It's like somebody taking a dog who has been hurt by humans and the dog bites you. You're going to be like, you know what? I'm going to be in your space, dog, slap the dog and be like, no, I'm here now. I'm not the one who did. No.
Yep.
You say, you know what? This dog is used to seeing people hurt them that look just like me, or things that look just like me. I have to prove to them that I am not.
It's a survival instinct. You bite up, you defend yourself against things that you think are threatening. And people that don't perceive your aggressive behavior against you as protective or self-defense, and instead of combative, those are the people that will not be, how you say this, understanding of your situation, because they think that you are not retaliating, you're actually engaging in physical combat, right?
That. Yes, it's unfair, but it is on you to be the best representation of humanity so you can rehabilitate that dog and educate them, for want of a better word, that not all humans are like this. And that while their feelings are valid, doesn't necessarily mean that this is the norm for everybody that fits this look or physiology. And I think the same thing goes for, everything, men included. A lot of men hate women because they pick the worst ones. You go after these women that are horrible, and then because
or to see women online that are horrible. It's just yourself, your experiences aren't reality, right? it's not okay to generalize other people's behavior with something that is compared to other people, such as sex or gender. Just because somebody with the same sex or gender did this doesn't mean all of them will. You know? It's very important that you stay critical and very individualistic, you know? You can't just generalize people based on irrelevant categories such as race, gender, sex, stuff like that.
Because of your bad choices, you're like, well, all women must be like this. But if you actually go out there and socialize and meet a lot of women, not just in your own neighborhood, but across across different countries and cultures, you can see, shocking, it is usually on an individual level. You will have good people and you have bad people. You do not want to push yourself into a space where people do not want you, especially if they claim to be transphobic.
Even animals know this. Even animals understand that you can't just put yourself in a certain group or situation or somebody's house where you don't belong in, you know? Because guess what? They might kill you, you know? And because we are civilized, the lines of danger are getting very blurry and people are getting very entitled and reckless, because they know that even if I piss this person off or this group off, there's hardly gonna be any consequences, you know? That's why the animal kingdom works, because the moment you fuck with the wrong person or the wrong animal, you're dead. You know? But us humans are civilized and we're not animals. And we have, you know, morals and values, you know? So it's different. Then we need to, like, we have, like, these conflicts and we have different ways of solving them outside of murder, you know?
Which is a fear of trans people. You're never going to make people stop being afraid of you by forcing yourself into a space to make them more afraid of you and to intimidate them. That is not how we're going to make progress. And it comes off, and other trans people have said this too, it actually sets the whole movement back, or it sets trans people back in general, because they're going to be like, okay, well, now they're all going to start looking at us like this. You're not doing us any favors. So yeah, but
that's the same thing whenever I see a video about a black person just mindlessly stealing stuff from a store and walking out, you know? Like, you're destroying the perspective of the whole black community because your dumbass decide to rob a Walmart getting filmed and posting it like it's some fucking trophy. No, you're a fucking thief, bro. You're a bad person for doing that. And then there's dumbass motherfuckers in the comments saying, oh, but Walmart is gonna feel this. No, I know. Walmart is not gonna feel you stealing $50 worth of stuff, okay? I understand that. But the black community is gonna feel this. Because the public's perception of black people is gonna become, oh, they're just stealing. They're just all thieves, you know? Like, you have to think about your public perception, because, well, you're putting out a bad example of who you are and who your collective is. In this case, it's the collective black people, right? Like, you represent that collective whether you want it or not. Just like I represent the collective of white people. I guess it's not a term I like to use. I rather just use pale and dark-skinned people, because, you know, this whole white and black thing, I think it's weird. It's stupid. Because nobody's actually white or actually black. But, you know, that doesn't really matter. It comes off very confusing whenever I say pale or dark. It sounds sometimes racist in some people's eyes. So I generally tend to use black and white, but I don't like the terms personally. But anyway, like, you represent them, whether you want them or not. I represent men, whether I want to or not. You know, it's just, people need to be held accountable for actions of their own, you know, and they gotta realize that some actions represent badly on people that look like you, or have the same ideas, or have the same ideologies. It's not that hard, right? Like, this is not rocket science, surely, right?
I kind of understand. I will lean more on the community side in this case because this gym woman, she did lie. You lied.
Absolutely.
You walked it back.
Yeah.
You decided to do
She manipulated them.
Men are this and men are that. And the women took it to heart and been like, bro, you're the one who said that it's always going to be a man. So now you have men coming into the gym. And she was stuck between a rock and a hard place that she put herself in because she opened up her mouth. You see, and this is what I'm trying to tell people. I try to tell people of these communities, businesses don't care about you. When it comes to the people who are the loudest about, oh, we agree, we are to support these people. These people ain't shit because they don't support you. If it really came down to it, they don't give a damn about you. They're going to choose their business over you. It just is what it is. The ones pandering the hardest are the ones who will be the quickest to walk back on what they say when they start losing money in business. All of a sudden now, trans people are disposable. Funny how that works. I would have been embarrassed because you took some of their money too. I would have been embarrassed, and I'm not going to be surprised if she ends up getting sued because the people who donated, so a lot of them are probably trans, and they're like, okay, well, you took my money though, because you were reassuring people that if they were trans, they would be.
They could sue her. I think a lot of people don't realize this, but they could sue her because the information that she put out about this business, about this investment, turns out to be something else that she promised. You know? Like, she could actually face legal consequences for what she did here. Not saying what she said is something I don't agree with. I think I agree with that, but that's irrelevant, right? People could actually file a lawsuit against her for this. For lying about the investment. I don't know what the real name is for this particular offense, because I'm not a lawyer. But I'm pretty sure people could actually get sued for this, and I highly doubt she'll win it.
Be included in this gym, and now you're telling us after you've taken our money that we're not allowed? Really? This is embarrassing. Damn, it's super embarrassing. I don't even know what to say past this point, but yeah, maybe next time, maybe you should have just left well enough alone. Maybe you should have opened up a course for women to have defensive classes instead of it making it about man hating and all that stuff, which is how you started. You know, no one hates a man more than a freaking trans woman. So you misled them. But you should have just been like, you know what? I'm just gonna open up a gym over here. Don't say the whole thing. I mean, this still probably would have happened, to be honest, but at least you wouldn't have been in the headlines. Not as much anyway, because this kind of stuff happens all the time, and most people don't really talk about it to that degree. But you opened up your mouth and said 100%, 1000% this is the case. And now you're walking it back and you're wondering now why people are angry with you. I hope these people get back their money.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah. For her sake, I think it would be very smart to refund every single person that requests one. Because otherwise, legally, she might become get into a lot of trouble. Anyway, this video is very long. Usually my videos are very long. Oh man, I mean this video itself is 37 minutes, and I yapped through it, and now it's 1 hour and 34. So I doubled the video like I always do. Love doing that, by the way. Love that. Very cool, very funny. Anyway, so I'm gonna end it here. I don't want to make it too long. All right, so yeah, let me know what you thought about the video, what you thought about my reaction. Leave a like, subscribe, and that's about it. Take care.